And just like that, with Sony's brand new cinema camera, have they officially killed the red v-raptor? Also, has Blackmagic finally given us the cinema camera we've all been waiting for? And to add insult to injury, does any of it matter since Apple just announced the brand new 15 Pro that's supposed to give us professional video features built into this phone? Well, let's hop into Uncensored and figure it out. It's been a crazy week of news in the world of video production, so let's not waste any time and let's jump into it. First, Sony has officially announced the brand new Burano cinema camera. This is their camera that's supposed to sit directly in between the Venice system and their traditional FX system line. Now, this camera is a smaller bodied Venice in almost every single way. We're getting a full frame 8K sensor that can shoot at up to 30 frames per second. It has 16 stops of dynamic range and can also shoot in RAW. This camera has a dual base ISO, autofocus, including eye autofocus, built-in NDs, image stabilization, and quite honestly, it seems to be a really solid camera at the $25,000 price point. Now, I understand that's not cheap and this camera is not for everyone. However, if you ever thought about using a Venice system or wanted to intrigue on using a Venice system, you'll quickly realize that this camera is completely out of most of our price points. However, with this Burano system, not only is this a camera that you could potentially see yourself purchasing, especially if you run a video production company or you're planning on using it as an A camera for a documentary, but this is a camera that I also think will be much easier to rent. Now, selfishly, as a Raptor owner, when I saw this camera get announced and I saw all the amazing specs that you got for that $25,000 price point, it kind of made my insides just crumble. Now, this compared to the Raptor, I will say they are completely different cameras, and I believe that they're going to be used in completely different use cases. However, I have to say there are a lot of really nice features built into this camera that I wish I had in my Raptor. You know, this compared to the Raptor, this technically is an 8.6K sensor. It also does have, as I mentioned before, the autofocus and built-in NDs, which I would personally love to have seen in my Raptor. I've seen a couple images from this camera, and just like most Sony cameras, everything looks amazing. Obviously, I haven't got a chance to shoot with it myself personally, but I have to say, Sony, it definitely looks like you knocked it out of the park with this one, and hopefully I can get my hands on it to test it soon. Now let's move on from one cinema camera to another, from a high-end to a more affordable option, and that is with the brand new Blackmagic Cinema Camera 6K. That's right, they have officially dropped the name Pocket on this camera, and I think for good reasons. This brand new camera is kind of different, although it has a lot of similarities to the Pocket 6K, but the biggest difference starts off with the sensor. They have decided to go with a new large format sensor, or a full frame sensor, which now allows them to not only give us a larger sensor, but they've also unlocked the possibility now of open gate recording. Another massive change to this camera is that they have moved away from the EF mount as they had with their previous Pocket cameras, and they have now shifted over to the L mount to join the L mount alliance that has to do with Leica, Panasonic, and now Blackmagic. Now, if you're familiar with the brand new G2 version of the 6K, the body of this camera is going to be very similar, although now on the memory card slot, you are going to be getting a CF Express Type B card slot, which is fantastic because these cards are going to be able to capture the additional data much faster and keep the camera from overheating. The rest of the body seems to be about the same, with your swivel screen, big 5-inch screen, as well as all of your touchscreen interfaces with that screen, along with some additional function buttons on the body of the camera. Now, full transparency, this is not the Pocket that I thought we were going to see, or the cinema camera, I guess, for that matter, that I thought we were all going to see. Many people were talking online about how Blackmagic was going to be giving us more of a box-shaped camera, something in line with the Komodo or the Z-Cam, but no, it looks like they are sticking with the design of the Pocket cameras. They're just allowing us to have a better sensor with this new camera. Now, the nice thing is that Blackmagic isn't jacking up the price with this one. This camera starts at just $25.95, which is a fantastic price for this camera, and I think if you can get down with the new lens mount, you'll be really happy with what you can capture out of this camera, especially for the price point. However, I would love to know from you guys who are still rocking the Blackmagic 6K or 6K Pros, who have the EF mount and have maybe invested into that system, how do you feel about them changing the mount? Personally, I still have a Blackmagic 4K that I use, and I actually rigged that in order to actually work with EF mounts, And personally, the L mount is nothing that I plan on investing in. So this is a camera that, because of the mount, personally, I'm not sure if I'm actually going to be going with. Now, obviously, that's just my uncensored opinion. I'm not a huge fan of the L mount, but I'd love to know what you guys think. Maybe the L mount's great. Maybe I'm missing something. Let me know down below in the comment section. Now, before we leave Blackmagic, I do want to say that something that I don't think anybody's been talking about yet is the fact that Blackmagic didn't just come out with new cameras, but they also came out with a new app for the iPhone. And I have downloaded this app and started using it. And trust me when I say this, this is the best video recording app on the iPhone, especially if you're planning on upgrading to the iPhone 15 and 15 Pro. This app has the entire interface of the Blackmagic system. So if you've ever used a Blackmagic camera, when you download this app, you're going to be able to quickly get it up and using it. And honestly, it has professional features that I've been waiting for on a phone forever. You can change your shutter speed from working as a shutter speed to shutter angle. You have false color, you have peaking, you have zebras, and you have full manual control of how your camera actually works. Personally, this is by far the best app I have ever seen for an iPhone when it comes to capturing video specific. So as a video shooter, I'm in love with it. Thank you, Blackmagic. This is probably the best thing you guys have released. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the app is free. So not like Filmic Pro where you're going to have to pay for extra features or have to pay to get, a subscription in order to be able to utilize everything that the app can do. The Blackmagic Camera App is free. And honestly, that's just amazing. Now, speaking of iPhones, let's go ahead and talk about what Apple has done with the brand new iPhone 15 and 15 Pro. Now, personally, as a video shooter, all I ever really care about are the cameras. And this year, they actually did some noticeable changes for the camera, especially when it comes to capturing video on the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max. Now, for starters, the iPhone 15 and 15 Pro now sport USB-C ports on the bottom. And specifically with the Pro, you can use this USB-C port to transfer at up to speeds up to 10 gigabits per second, or working at basically USB 3.1 speeds. This is fantastic, especially because now ProRes on these Pro models can now shoot at up to 4K 60 frames per second. This means that getting files off the phone onto your computer is going to be much faster. However, one of the biggest updates is now you maybe don't even have to do that at all. Now Apple gives you the ability to record directly from the phone to a USB-C drive using that USB-C port. This means you can record at 4K up to 60 frames per second in ProRes directly to an external drive. Now, I did an entire video breaking down my original thoughts and opinions about the brand new iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max's cameras, especially with the weird fact that Apple decided to only do the really nice zoom lens on the Pro Max, which personally I'm not a huge fan of, but you can watch that and all my opinions and see exactly what Apple did with the new 15 and 15 Pro Max in the card up above, and check out that video. Now, if that was all the news we had this week, this would be a jam-packed week. However, Canon didn't want to be left out of the game. Canon actually announced some brand new PTZ cameras this week, but also what I'm actually more excited about is the fact that Canon has finally, oh my goodness, finally released their RF mounted cinema lenses. Now, if you don't shoot Canon, you may not care about this. However, I still think it's important, especially because so many other camera manufacturers are actually adopting the RF mount, such as Red. Now, with the brand new Canon RF mount lenses, these are cinema primes, and they actually not only work as primes, but they also transmit lens data to the camera. Now, this means that this is going to work on your C70s, your Komodos, your Raptors, and any other camera that's actually sporting an RF native mount lens, even your Canon photography cameras. Now, with this release of these RF lenses, Canon did give us an entire full set, including the 14, 20, 24, 35, 50, 85, and 135 lenses with a variety of different T-stops based off the lens, but it is nice that Canon has finally given us some RF prime lenses that are native to their system. And because it seemed like every camera manufacturer wanted to release something this week, Fujinon has also released the brand new GFX 100 Mark II. This is a 102 megapixel medium format camera. And if you see the images from this camera, you will quickly understand the beauty that is medium format. Medium format is larger than your traditional full frame sensor, and you can absolutely see it not only in the megapixels and the quality of these images, but also just in the bokeh of the images that we have seen coming out of this camera. Now, this camera is a primarily photography-based camera. However, you can use this camera for video as well. And because you're working with that larger sensor, the video looks like something I've never seen before in traditional mirrorless cameras because of that larger sensor. Along with this new camera, they also released 3 new lenses as well to pair with it. And personally, this is a camera that at first, when I heard about it, I wasn't really that sure if I wanted to check it out. But after seeing some of the images out of it, I absolutely want to get my hands on it because I think that this camera honestly produces images that are very unique to this medium format sensor type look. Now, before we get out of here, I want to quickly say that this video is not sponsored, and that is 100% because of our members of the Creative Fam Academy. In fact, I want to take a moment and shout out this month's Creative Fam Academy member of the month, which is James Fred. James is our monthly winner of the $500 worth of gear. And so James, as you know, we've already reached out, we've already orchestrated everything, and things are being ordered for you now. But if you guys are interested in learning how you can actually become a member of the Creative Fam Academy and possibly win $500 worth of free gear, as well as be able to learn from the Creative Fam, as well as just connect with people inside of the community where we have awesome conversations. We talk about gear, we talk about what's happening, we talk about the news, and realistically, we just have a kind of good time. Definitely check out the links down below to check out the Creative Fam Academy. Along with, I'll have links to all the articles of all the new gear, as well as links to the gear down below as well. Just, head down there and just hang out. It's a party. But thank you guys so much for checking out this video. Let me know what you guys think about this uncensored news style, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.